everything's good. All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Great Teacher Onizuka, episode 17.
Miss Rumi Kanzaki.
Miss Kanzaki.
The 200 plus IQ.
The Johannes.
Yeah.
She's terrifying. And amazing in that she brings such a formidable foe that, it takes the power scaling thing in Onizuka as a show is just like,
yeah, this one goes up to 11. Like, it's basically, we're in supervillain level.
Yes, this is the Moriarty to his Sherlock Holmes.
No, no. Onizuka is not Sherlock Holmes.
I mean,
let's be real.
Like, he's not Sherlock, but he is like he is so cool, and he is so in his own world that you could say he is just a more anime physical Sherlock. Like, he doesn't next level, brain, these situations out, but he does sometimes use crazy tactics to, to get around a situation.
Yes, he definitely does, but just with the whole Moriarty Sherlock thing, there's this concept that they can compete on similar ground.
Oh, I think they will definitely compete on certain ground, because
but it'll be like literal ground.
It will be sick fascination from her to him, and then he will be like, okay, I have to dig deep within myself to find the ways in which I can actually go toe to toe with her.
And that's gonna be what will make it so great, is that the way they fight, very different. Very different. And the way that she fights is very different than anything Onizuka has faced before.
But that's the thing. I think that his hidden genius is going to have to come to the forefront because she's so smart. He'll be like, you think you're so smart? Well, two can play at this game, and she's going to be better than him. But it's going to be like, I planned around your plan, and the plans of the plans of the plans, I
almost hope that
doesn't happen.
That the opposite happens.
Oh.
That Onizuka's simple wisdom in stupidity kind of thing is what ends up making the conflict interesting. Because
I could see that.
Because,
but then you would have to wonder, did he plan that intentionally? That's the thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And does that actually mean he's maybe, the most intelligent of all?
Right, and they actually set up that he is kind of intelligent because he aced the test.
Well, recently. I think that might be rule of cool stuff, because he was getting 20s and stuff before then, but yeah.
But that's the thing, though. That shows his capacity.
Great Teacher Onizuka.
And he cannot be defeated. Forever.
Yes, exactly. He can lose battles, but he will always win the war.
All right, guys, we're excited. So without further ado, let's get into this. The only opening we're opening with a naked guy walking out of the bathroom and then a dick shot as he's basically pulling up his zipper and stuff. It's just this show, because then the music is so we're deep and we have feelings,
we're smooth and we're awesome,
but it's like, look at what's happening on screen,
Water.
Sanity. Body del Cody. We can do whoa, crash into the rolling morning flash. I'm in the coolest driver's high. Side da 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 da.
Oh, I love this show so much.
What happens if we ever get ninja'd with a surprise opening that's completely different?
If the opening changes, that would that would break my heart.
桜田のやつ、今日はなんでこんな簡単なとこやってんだよ。難しい問題出して、さんに間違い指摘されるのが怖いんじゃねえの。
先生、今の役変だと思います。
And he's the one who always uses like.
Hanzaki's class terrorism.
かけないで。
Oh.
5時間目、私の授業なんです。
Oh.
そうですか。鬼塚には手を出す。
あ
いつはお前が知ってるような教師じゃない。
へえ、あいつの肩持つ。
I love that they're talking about sides already. You know?
4組の担任いじめの作詞のセリフとは思えないわね。先行3人も学校から追い出してるやつさ。
So getting Kikuchi early was important. Very important.
ちゃんと特別扱いして。
Yeah, I knew she had some weird fascination with him.
それでは
The design on that teacher is really weighing me out.
頭がスーッとしたりしない？
Oh boy.
No!
Oh boy.
No, no,
That's...
no!
わかります。
Uh-oh.
Oh!
一体誰だろうね。こんな悪いことしたの。
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
no burn marks. Like,
Yeah. Nelton! What is Nelton? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a Nelton party! Oh. Ah! Oh my god!
hit on a teacher's pay. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like he's staring at the audience.
Yeah, the audience like,
わかりま
it's
した
like you can
よ。
hear us laughing at her, but
どうせ犯人は分かってるんだ。
it's like, ah, yes. It's time to go to war! Oh my god!
The principal isn't even fazed by this
ちょ
new
っと
getup.
補習授業。
Nope.
その格好でかね。
人生の補習ってやつ
The
ですよ。
subject of life.
神崎うるみじゃないだろうね。
Uh-huh.
この間
The character animation has been amazing this episode. Can I just say, like,
It really has.
特別待遇時なんだよ。IQ200 の
we know this. We know this.
万一のことがあったら君の首だけでは済まんのだからね。
特別待遇時ってこともあるけどさ、俺たちにとっても神崎って
Yeah.
の
Oh,
は近寄り
so
がたい
she's
存
feared
在っ
amongst
つうか
even them.
そうそう。
Okay.
なんか関わるとやべえ気がしてさ。前に相沢からチラッと聞いたんだが。なんでもあいつ
Oh.
でっかいトラウマを抱えてるとか。
Aizawa did or Arumi?
No, that Arumi did. Kanzaki, yeah.
そんな動物いるのか。
Wait, what? A fusion of a horse and a tiger?
ひょっとしてとんでもねえもん想像してねえか。
かもしれない。
Oh, stalking his prey, essentially. He's gonna gather data.
Okay.
See? He's got the shades
I mean,
on.
she would totally know that that was him.
Yep, yep.
お前、でっかいトラウマを抱え込んでんだ。
Huh?
そういうことなら早く俺に言ってくれよな。
Oh, I like this angle,
だ
though.
ら俺の得意分野だぜ。
先生、トラウマって分かってる？
Oh,
おうよ。こんなのだろ。
Toruama! I'm such an idiot. I did not realize that.
おう
Wow. That's amazing, actually.
こんなのがうちに住み着いてたら大変よ
They're
ね。
talking so casually. So what's the game that she's playing?
いやまあ、
Yeah.
一教師として当然のことだな。
先生って人種はいざとなれば平気で生徒を見捨てるって。
バー
I hope she's not
ガ
just
ー。俺が見捨
playing
て
a
るわけねえ
victim.
だろ。
2の
Oh no! Oh no!
として
He messing with Yakuza!
はーい、私です。町のゴミ掃除です。どうする？見捨てる？
Wow!
Wow, who's
Wow.
fast?
Hey! Good! Serpentine! Serpentine! Onizuka! He graduated from the class of running away! Well done! Well done! Joseph Joestar would be proud.
先生、
Oh my gosh, she's gonna jump. Yeah.
死んでやる。
Ah!
くるみ、これから衣装を描きます。衣装、鬼塚先生に着 嫌われたので自殺します。
If you do, I'll kill you.
いう冗談はこれっきりしてくれよな。
冗談じゃないよ。半分本気だったよ。
Okay.
たまにあるんだ。そういう夜が孤独で憂鬱で。
I get the
自
feeling
分なん
lonely
て人
bit.
間がなんで生まれてきたんだろうって考えちゃって、最初からいなかったことにできたらいいのになんて。
God, I hope this is genuine.
俺
That
の
guy's
経
being
験から
kind
言
of.
ってそういうことを考える時ってな大抵腹が減ってるんだ。
Well said,
Since you just had
Onizuka.
ramen, probably not that.
ラーメン
Yes.
ふりかけだったしな。
We didn't finish.
じゃあ私焼肉食べたい。
おーラッキー
You've got to be kidding me. What? 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 Oh my gosh! You have got to be kidding me! What? Yeah, this is not what happened. One big butt.
謎は全て解けた。
Yes.
じっちゃんの名にかけて。
Oh my gosh.
これ以上罪を重ねるのはやめて。
Wow. Wow. I love that this is not the
picture
the
frame.
picture frame, you know,
That's
because
strictly
it's
for
so
sexy
horrible.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
先生って人種をいざとなれば平気で生徒を見捨てるって。
Wow, that's so meta.
まだ死んでると決まったわけじゃない。
He's doing the
急いで病院に運べば。おい。
Oh, those are just cops.
これじゃまるで殺人現場を目撃。
埋めちまうんだどうする人物疲れ世界はどう
What is this episode? So many times they're just like
だめったなことじゃ見つけられません
messing with our perception of things. I guess it's just how panicked he is. Did he actually run all the way here? No, come on.
俺は何やってんだ。これじゃ土曜アイドル殺人鬼じゃねえか。助けるんだ。
You could check her pulse to see if she has.
Yeah, literally. He's 22 and panicking.
Yeah.
He's not thinking much.
そうだ。人工呼吸。
And she actually hasn't been unconscious this entire
Right,
time.
right, of course. Yeah.
鬼塚英吉22歳独身。行かせていただきます。
Please cross over peacefully! Ah, the little flames!
人のこと勝手に殺さないでくれる。
Oh, okay.
やっぱ霊峰富士のパワーっていう
殺人および死体遺棄未遂。ランプの生産が欲しいな。
3 wishes from him.
ラリパッパーとか呪文を唱えると、パパラパー、アイサーご主人様。
I saw.
懲役10年くらいかな。殺人未遂と死体遺棄未遂だった。
パパラバーアイアイさあご主人様。
Oh, crap. Oh, wow, in the opening. Oh my gosh. Well, this is... Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's been defeated soundly. God! Oh, Kikuchi! Oh!
神崎鬼塚に何をした
I've won.
ケツ
そしたらあいつどうしたと思う？
自分も飛び降りて助けようとして
Yes. I love how they're supposed to be third years in junior high.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
What
that
an
was great.
episode.
That was great.
That was intense.
Wow, and I love that they used the opening in the episode. Like,
Yeah, you know that the episode's important when the OP is like
yeah,
fully used almost. If anything, like I hope that doesn't cause any problems with copyright.
Yeah.
But I'm actually kind of intrigued by how they decided to have her not be malevolent. Like no. Let me explain here. Is that she, absolutely was manipulative and conniving with using all this to get him to do what she wanted. But when she was manipulating him as the genie, she was doing it for her own enjoyment and not necessarily at just the purpose of making him suffer.
Although that last one might have been.
No, I know. I know, but not...
Yeah.
Like, not something that would be the equivalent of Madame Footlicker, where it's just like, lick my foot, bend over, and, wag your tail like a dog kind of thing.
Right, because in the case of Madame Footlicker, it was because she wanted to know that she was in control.
Or superior,
right,
yeah.
Or superior,
in this case,
whatever.
she already knows that.
She already knows that.
So she's having fun with it.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, in some ways, she might end up solving the whole problem herself by just realizing that, hey, he doesn't deserve this.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. This episode was crazy. All right. It was actually like so much happening, and the fact that they started actually at the school with like the English teacher and then the science teacher and going through all the things that Kanzaki was doing to terrorize them, and then we went through all of this bit with Onizuka like gathering intelligence, figuring out she had a trauma in her in her past.
A Torama.
That's a tiger horse, right? Yes. Okay, so we must find ways to deal with this tiger horse. I really thought like he was trying to use it as some kind of metaphor, but no, he's just actually that stupid. Or Jacob, this is the example of his stupidity, his wisdom coming through, is he knows that anyone who's dealt with trauma just needs someone to be in their life and bring positivity and wholesomeness.
Sure, yeah.
So he's actually like winging it. He's like, I wasn't supposed to be caught.
Well, and one of the other things he could be doing is he could be saying, okay, all right, this girl's smart.
Very smart. Very smart.
So she has proven that she will basically prove that she is smarter than anyone who tries to be smart, right?
Yeah.
And show just how much smarter she is. So here he ends up not being smart, right? You know, he doesn't attempt to fight that game at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. What he ends up doing basically is he spends time with her, and she ends up bringing kind of strings him along for the whole like, oh, I'm a victim and stuff. But the thing is that there was enough sincerity in her voice that I believe on some level that the trauma probably has to do with relationship of some kind, not necessarily like anything more than a family relationship, really. Probably.
But when we saw her, when Aizawa called her, her home life does not seem to be good, at the very least, because she was just sitting in a dark room in front of a TV, and I think she might have been drinking and alone.
Yeah, the thing that I'm thinking might the thing that I'm thinking might be happening here is that because she's in this Mensa genius level whatever thing, she gets government money. And they cover like her schooling. Okay. They cover her living situation. Sure. And I'll bet you she's not living with anyone. Gotcha. This is actually, I'd say, a lot more common than it is for us here. Okay. Like there are, students who end up basically, living by themselves and stuff.
I could see them doing that, yeah.
Or at the very least, not necessarily that they are living by themselves and they have no family. It's just that their family either
is far away,
works abroad, or whatever, and she doesn't have to worry about anything, of that nature because,
she's got a 200 IQ.
Yeah, but just going out and doing those fun things with Onizuka and all that was actually enjoyable for her.
Because one of the things that I think about with someone like this, when they're so confident in their own abilities, right. They won't have a problem being vulnerable because they don't have anything to worry about, right? They can't be hurt in that sense, right? So they don't have to worry about someone abusing that vulnerability because they can't connect with anyone anyways, right?
Are you sure that it's not a false vulnerability, though?
I mean, it could be, but like the thing with the suicide, for instance, and saying like, oh, I was half serious. You know?
That's why I think it's half vulnerability.
Well, sure, yeah, because the thing is with vulnerability, there has to be the ability to be hurt, right?
Right.
Otherwise, it's not vulnerability.
Right.
But the thing is that because she just cannot connect with people anyways, she can't really be vulnerable even while she's doing the things that for other people would be them being vulnerable, right?
I guess so.
She basically has armor that is so thick, even if she's not wearing armor, she's wearing armor.
I like that. I like that line of reasoning. Do you think then if it's a kind of vulnerability where she utilizes it to connect with people because she's so intelligent, she actually has something that's vulnerable, and that's actually more or less the nasty side of her, because the kind of things that she probably has to deal with are, 1, she's alone.
Yeah.
2, the reason why she's alone is because she can't connect with people. But 3, the reason why she can't connect with people is because she doesn't have any desire to.
Okay.
She has no desire to connect with all these stupid people out here, essentially.
Sure, I could see that.
And she finds Onizuka entertaining,
right?
But she's not asking him questions about himself.
Right. It's the idea that
that's why I don't see it as actually
she doesn't
connection.
She can't find connections that are intellectually stimulating, right? Because she's alone in that sense. You know, even a smart person like Kikuchi, it's just like, oh, hey Kikuchi, you know, whatever.
Right.
So with Onizuka, she's seeking something different. She's seeking more of a plaything, right?
Well, yes, I think she's wanting some permanency, though. I think it's less about actually what's being done.
Sure, okay.
Because my point is that she doesn't inquire about Onizuka.
No.
She doesn't care really who he is.
Yeah.
She needs a person with permanence. That aspect of teachers leave, you know.
Right.
And that sounds like the kind of thing where
she's actually desperate for human connection.
That's
which is
that's
why
the
she's
true
willing
vulnerability.
To, okay, all right.
In that she says she's alone, but that's like saying like I feel bad today. Like I can go and hang out with people and say like, guys, I'm not feeling good today. But like say I'm like, the real thing is like, no, I'm desperate for human connection. I really need a person right now. You don't want to say that because then you come off as needy and then you lose your position of power.
Right.
In her case, she would lose.
Yeah,
that.
and in her case, it's maybe what it is that the reason she's willing to be vulnerable or pseudo vulnerable or whatever, right? And she's doing it all while being manipulative and wanting to, you know, have fun with Onizuka, right?
Yeah.
But it's this idea that if you were in imagine you're in a situation where you can't connect with people.
Yeah.
Well, when you connect with a person, there's the potential for good and bad, positive and negative, right? That's why there's the whole idea of being vulnerable versus not being vulnerable. But she hasn't been doing the traditional things that you would associate with
connecting.
Well, with connecting, but also with, like, she's doing the things that you would associate with being vulnerable, but she's not being vulnerable. And it seems like maybe what it is that basically, because she's so starved for human connection, she is basically, if somehow someone were able to if the vulnerability were able to, because of that, were able to hurt her, if someone was able to hurt her in some way, she would actually see that as a positive thing, because that's probably not something that she's really been able to have happen before. Because she isn't able to actually get close enough to people. If that makes sense. Now it could be something different where there was like a past hurt, you know, because the trauma thing.
I kind of am with you, but I don't think she's the type of person that actually is capable of allowing herself to be truly vulnerable. So the thing is that I don't think I don't think she's actually trying to connect here. I think she's trying to fulfill a need.
Sure.
But she's not actually doing what you need to do to have the need be fulfilled. So let's cast this. Let's cast this ad infinitum into the future.
All right.
Onizuka ends up eventually, you know, being done with her. Right. It's like, I've had it.
Yeah.
Do whatever you will. I'll
take the 10 years.
Yeah. Or like, you know, scheming some way to avoid the 10-year solution as well.
Sure.
And getting out of it. She's going to then look at this and go, oh, well, that was fun. I guess I got good mileage out of that one. And then moves on to the next one.
Right.
I think then she might get vindictive a little bit and, try to weasel her way out of it. But I think that what will be interesting is we'll find out, because I think it's a big of a, it's one of two things here. If she just calls him on it and goes, 10 years, there you go. Mm-hmm. Or if she begins to stack more on top of it, that shows she actually cares about this person's connection over other people's connection. So that's the one I think that they're going to end up going with.
Okay.
And it's that Onizuka does seem to be like a genuine person who's very unique, very different.
Yes.
And also that he is a teacher, and probably a teacher that she is coming to respect and to admire for what he represents as a great teacher.
Sure.
Now still, here's the thing. If we look at what she did this episode and last episode and what have you, she does not let herself be actually vulnerable.
Right, she always has some game that she's playing.
She always has some game that she's playing. Regardless of intent, the end result is that she ends up moving in such a way that it works to her benefit.
Yeah.
So she could be being vulnerable, but because she's going halfway towards it, I kind of have to assume that while it's true, while the statements she's making are true, that she was considering suicide.
It's still like it's basically like
it's false vulnerability. It's not actual vulnerability, and that's what you said.
Sight kind of a thing.
And that's what you said essentially, is that because she can't actually be hurt by it, it's not really vulnerability. So what I'm thinking here is that Onizuka will realize, he'll go back to why did he start this whole excursion with her tonight, and he'll be like, oh, it was because of a trauma. Notice how she deftly kind of avoided that whole subject of things. She just kind of laughed it off.
Right. So and now she's kept Onizuka so busy that he's not even going to be able to think about that.
Exactly. So I think that's her vulnerability.
Okay.
Was that she was in a position at one point where people could hurt her, and they did, and they really did. And this is way more common than we care to admit. And that regardless of what your age, intelligence level or whatever, people go through a lot of people go through some kind of abuse in that younger years, pre-age 13 or whatever,
of some
form or whatever. So the fact that she avoided it so smoothly makes me think it has to be something like really bad.
So here's a thought.
Okay.
She's this Machiavellian, super smart person. Okay, there was the whole thing of the jumping and all that stuff, but then even the 500 yen coin that Onizuka went to pick up and he knocked her off, that also seemed to have been her doing as well, right? Yeah. So, and even throwing the bottle out behind her and knowing that it would smack the dude in the face
who was on the
other side of a curtain, who also happened to be Yakuza. So that's some next level stuff right
because
there.
she had to have heard their voices from right down the street or something.
However that would have happened.
Yeah.
So what if she was actually the person that started the whole class 3-4 problems back when it was class 2-4 or class 1-4, right?
Well, we already theorized that in the previous episode.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we went into the whole thing of how she was essentially the original problem potentially, and
right, yeah, the original problem for sure. But what if she also basically, through her intelligence and her ability to manipulate, because all the stuff she's been doing here has been manipulation that's overt, right? Mm-hmm. But what if she was? Who's to say that she wouldn't do manipulation that people don't notice, right? Congratulations, John, you made them think it was their idea.
Well, so what does this theory mean even? Like Kikuchi.
Well, okay.
The reason why Kikuchi was such a bad student was all her Keikaku.
Well, it's more of just we made the Johan connection.
Yeah.
And it's like if this is Kinderheim 511 and she basically just turned it all into some chaotic thing.
But she doesn't though.
Well, but she what if she did way back then?
But I think that's kind of the point, is that she enjoys too much the actual the actual chaos that she creates. She's not the kind of person that would do some kind of final I end it all here.
Right.
If anything, she got bored with that. She left. There was a reason why she was there, and it wasn't fulfilling her, so she left. So I don't think she does it even to get fulfillment. I don't think she's
no,
the kind.
No, I know. I'm not talking about what she does now. I'm more thinking if, as far back as potentially 3 years ago, right? If she started this whole problem and then of course got bored with it and left, right, later.
Sure.
But
it doesn't really have any bearing on the story currently.
Not
so
really. It's more of just a factoid that if that were the case, I would find that very, very funny and interesting, and it could also be, and this is the one reason where it could be plot relevant.
Okay.
Is if that was a way to basically tie back into Aizawa's whole thing and some of the other students as well, and just the general, because the thing is that while she might have been able to manipulate them if she did do this, it wouldn't have been something where she would just be mind controlling them, right? She would have basically used something that was a problem. Johan. Right, exactly. To then cause them to do all this, and that could be an excuse to get into what that was, since we have heard a lot about it.
I guess actually the other thing that might be making her past actions in that school's whatever relevant is the fact that she had a past trauma. And we could just go back to the point of what was she like before the past trauma?
Right.
Was she at this school when that happened? My guess is she wasn't. My guess is generally the time when people, are in that kind of, the reason why
I think the real question is whether it was something that happened at school or at home.
Oh, I'm going to guess is 100% at home.
Same here.
There's
the time frame of how old she was when it happened. That is important, but not nearly as important as where it came from.
But it's like if they end up revealing that there was a teacher at the school or whatever, it's still not going to be a thing that happened at the school. It's probably going to be a thing that happened where she was like stalked or whatever by a teacher.
Sure, there's all sorts of ways they could do it.
I do like the talk that she and Kikuchi keep bouncing back and forth between though, because what's really cool here is that she treats Kikuchi more or less kind of like an equal.
Right, it's like, yes, you're a fellow terrorizer of school teachers.
Yes, what changed? Like, now you're on Onizuka's side. She's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I like, though, that he's not afraid of her. Like, he's not showing his fear of her.
Right, he keeps his cool.
He keeps his cool, but he also knows where to be. And he also seems to be, like, not only, like on Onizuka's side, but he's taking a huge risk by doing this. Because, one, I think that one of the reasons why he can be a little bit brave about this is because he realizes how much she's fascinated by Onizuka. But he's probably walking a fine line between just kind of being a mild annoyance and actually interfering.
Right.
And my thought is that now that he knows that she's, worked her, whatever on him, he might interfere, and then this could turn into an actual, Cold War of sorts.
Well, and this is
kids
the
have
thing.
to save Onizuka,
Well, and this is one of the things that I would be interested in, because whenever you have someone that is this powerful,
right?
There's the idea that they shouldn't ever lose their cool. They just shouldn't. Even if someone interferes with their plans, it shouldn't ever be a real problem, right? It shouldn't be something where they ever have to get vindictive, because vindictive means they feel threatened.
Right.
But the whole idea is that they can't feel threatened, right? That's the whole problem that they're having with connecting with people and vulnerability and all that stuff. So I feel like she sort of sees Kikuchi as basically something that's another bit of entertainment. If Kikuchi actually did manage to cause disturbances in her plans, then she'd just deal with it in some whatever way was most effective and move on and maybe give him a pat on the back for making her change things up.
Well, he is playing the smart game right now in that he's actually trying to get into her ways of thinking.
Right.
He's informing her and guiding her to have a better opinion of Onizuka. Right. And that's really smart, because on the one hand, it's a form of not manipulation, but suggestion.
Right.
It's kind of
trying to show her some different perspectives.
Yeah, and if that succeeds, she might start to change a little bit. Now, here's the thing. If she's not that self-aware, which, let's be real, the person that she is probably like not self-aware at all. Like,
really?
Like, oh, I'm going to go out on a limb there, Jacob, and say, like, combining trauma with having a genius level intellect or whatever, I'll bet you she wants to get out of her head as much as possible. Like,
okay, maybe. And
that's why she's wanting to do all these physical exciting things, is she's just like, I hate what's going on up in here,
right
because it's actually like, mucking up with me.
But I would say that's more a symptom of being too self-aware.
That really?
Basically, because and I love that you're bringing that up, because that totally ties in with where we saw her at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Of basically just stimulating herself and doing something to keep her mind busy, right? Her mind preoccupied. And I'm totally all for that.
Well, when I say self-awareness, I'm not meaning like how much is tuned inward or how much is working inside. I'm meaning on like how much focus is going on there. Like how much of the energy is devoted towards actually like perceiving and understanding what's going on internally.
Right, but I would say that with what they've set up with her character, it's her whole problem is that she has too much bandwidth. So even if she's constantly trying to get distractions, because even just a little bit of self-focus or whatever is enough or is too much, right? And she doesn't want to think about it.
Yeah.
So she goes somewhere else.
Right, so she's intentionally making herself not self-aware, which is also removing the ability for her to solve her own problem. That's what my thought is, that this is how she's going to be defeated, so to speak. She will solve it herself. But the thing is there's going to be voices, like Onizuka and Kikuchi, who will basically guide her in her genius level intellect towards a solution. And when she finds that solution, she's going to be like, ha! And then just kind of snap and move in that direction. And I think it's going to be this thing where Onizuka and all of them will be like, she's such a problem. And then suddenly she'll just be like, well, all right, I'm good. And then she'll just disappear. And they'll be like, wait,
maybe?
Like, what?
Maybe?
I really don't think that she's going to be the kind of person that, one, they'll outwit. Two, she'll, self-destruct. Where she'll, like, cause her own problems to be worse. I think it's going to be a thing where she'll turn her focus inward and realize that she's had the solution all along to what her problem is, and her problem is that she
more an
wants
emotional
connection.
Realization, or sort of a coming to terms with everything or whatever. Because I feel like if it was something that where it was like a concrete solution, like doing something or something like that, she already would have come to that conclusion, and then
that's my thing, though, is that saying that she was self-aware at a point doesn't mean that she is a self-aware person. Like meaning that she could have at some point, and I think she would have, if you're alone and you have a lot of time to think in here, you eventually turn inwards and try to figure out what's going on.
Right. And as smart as she is, she probably would have been able to.
Right, but I don't think having a high IQ means she has a good EQ. I don't think her being a genius problem solver means that she can solve her own problems. I think what she looks at is she's done a lot of victim stuff right here, She utilized her her loneliness and her depression and all this in a victim way to in some ways manipulate Onizuka. So I think she trivializes her own trauma. I think she trivializes the problems that she has and says like, I don't need to deal with them, or because I don't think she sees them as unsolvable problems.
No, it's more like but I could definitely see it being something where the fact that she has a problem that she can't just immediately solve with the power of her brain,
right?
That could be something that she finds despicable.
Yes, and if she found it despicable, I think that she would snap. And this is not a person that has snapped or I think is going to snap.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Do you get my vibe here? Like I don't think she's the kind of person that's going to go crazy all of a sudden. Like she is crazy already.
Yeah. And I would say with the whole idea of crazy, often it's, especially in storytelling, oftentimes it's used for just something that is not understood, and then it's just whatever. So I don't know. I'm really excited to see what they do with her character.
Same.
Because it's it's not going to be as simple as Madam Footlooker, where it's, oh no, you know, you must save her from the mafia or whatever. Yeah.
It's going to be tied to the trauma. That was a very obvious little exposition dump there that was very good to give, and I love the comedy that was put around it. I like how, on retrospect, we can look back and realize, whoa, she definitely changed the focus of the conversation, everything around that. If we go back, I think it was very soon after that whole thing with the trauma or whatever, she kind of just laughs and goes, ha, you're such a nice guy and stuff, and basically turns it towards him. Like, her verbiage starts to go you.
Sure, yeah.
I.
She definitely was very actively manipulating Onizuka this episode, and it didn't really happen until he talked about the trauma and he opened up with that. He was very open about it, right? She did the whole thing of leading him around, as, you know, because she noticed that he was following her, but he opened up with that, and then she had him on rails from then on out.
I am really impressed with Onizuka's ability to wing his bad plan off of her reaction to his bad plan to basically, let's just spend some wholesome time together.
Yeah, just be sincere.
And just be sincere. Like, he doesn't put up barriers intentionally with his students by trying to present a specific image of Onizuka to them.
Right, because of his position as a teacher. Or whatever.
He's just casually drinking, like, you know, getting tipsy, like, right with a, you know, young girl and stuff. So I think that Onizuka's doing this the right way. He got played, like, really well.
Yeah.
Because he lets his emotions, everything go out of whack and all that. But I'm also excited to see if the class rallies behind Onizuka as kind of a, we have to save him from thing there, like the Yoshikawas and the Kikuchis. And even in some ways, I don't know if it's really going to happen. I think Aizawa is probably just going to be a commentator. But I would love to see people like Aizawa, people like Kunio, the people that were generally the more bully type people kind of go, we kind of like the way things are with Onizuka, and you're kind of making him,
you're messing it up.
You're messing it up a little bit. So the whole, like, I would love to see a 3-4 alliance versus her in some way, and her just like either just you guys are nothing, or it become basically this Cold War thing where there's this tug of war back and forth over Onizuka in the middle. That could be kind of fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Any closing?
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah, possibilities are endless. Any closing thoughts on the whole kind of like the fourth wall, funny, goofy, random stuff this episode? Like,
no,
like,
I mean,
like the young teacher who's like stop laughing, like points and looks at the camera.
The episode as a whole was hilarious, and it went on a lot longer than I thought. But it didn't feel like a long episode. Or no, it felt like a long episode, but I know it wasn't, right? Yeah. Because everything was moving so quickly from the get-go that it was just one constant romp and joke after another. Yeah. And that's very surprising. Like, the whole bit with Onizuka going around, you know, thinking she's dead, and what's he going to do? Is he going to bury the body or whatever? That, like...
Something on the TV that's like, bury her. And it's like, what?
Yeah, like, that was... I never would have expected that there would be something like that, and they like I was expecting it would have arrived at the whole CPR thing much sooner, and then, you know, she would wake up. But good episode.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to see the next episode's reaction right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there, you can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access where you can chat with us about stories or whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.